G'day everyone, welcome back to Tropical Fruits of Mother Nature. Just thought I'd do a quick update. I know I haven't done an update in about 3 to 4 weeks. Just to show you guys how everything's sort of panned out and how everything's going over the last few weeks, last few days. And as we go through to the end of winter, sort of what's been damaged, what the damage is and how everything else is going. So without further ado, we'll start with the pepino. So as you can see, as I almost trip over there, our pepino is doing really well. It's flowering heaps, and the leaves are pretty healthy, so I'm pretty happy with that. Can't wait to get a few fruits, which is awesome. As you saw from the last video, it was fruiting. There was a fruit that was actually under here. Unfortunately, as I was pruning, I moved it a bit, the fruit, and it fell off. So probably a mix of little nutrients and the plant, and it wasn't able to hold it. But rest assured, over spring, based on how this is flowering, I'm sure that we will get some more fruits. So yeah, it's doing pretty well. And as you can see there, we already got another fruit. So how awesome is that? Nice and quick. I'll be feeding these guys a lot of seaweed, sea salt, to help with its progress, and to ensure that we get a lot of growth over the next coming weeks as we go into spring and then eventually into summer. So just panning down a bit. As you can see, the wind's pretty bad today. As you can see, the curry tree is doing really well. Slow grower, but getting lots of new growth on that. And we've actually used this already in some of our cooking, so really nice, really beautiful smell to it. Highly recommend it. Slow growing tree, but yeah, it's doing really well. And then as we go a bit lower, we've got our volunteer galangal, which is doing well, and our cardamom gingers, which haven't been affected at all. Another one that hasn't been affected is our chili, which is doing fine, and obviously our bananas. They're doing just fine too, as being protected over winter. One that normally does do pretty bad is the mangoes. Now, as you can see here, the Bowen mango, which was planted in ground, that was one that was flowering when I first planted it last summer, is still doing really well. That new growth out the top there, that was from summer when I actually pruned the flowers off, if you remember. No damage to that, or a little bit, but not too bad. And the buds on the top of it, which you probably can't see, are still there. So hoping that this in summer is going to grow, or it's going to get heaps of growth to it. So the idea is to acclimate it here, and then eventually, maybe in a couple of years, remove this plastic and have it grow without any protection. So that's the plan. Alright, before we continue, I just want to show you some more of the cardamom gingers, which are doing fine. Pineapples, as you can see, not too much to show there. They're all doing pretty well, so you've seen them before. I won't spend too much time on them. They're all doing well. Pineapples are doing well. And then on the back there, we've got a rescue monstera. You can see that climbing up the wall there. And on the left of it, just some jasmine. So hopefully that attracts some bees and some bugs and insects during the warmer months, and that will help pollinate. So yeah, moving right along. Papaya number 1. So this papaya here, just bear with me. Sorry, papaya number 1 did lose all of its leaves, and that's not because of the cold. That's actually because this plastic structure came down, and it came down a few times, as most of you mentioned it would. But if you're persistent in growing, you come out, and when it stopped raining and it's freezing cold, you fix it. So I've fixed it, and it's done its job. Because if you look on the bottom there, the papaya stalk itself is completely solid. So winter a couple of weeks over, I'm still going to take a lot of precaution, obviously. But my tip was never to water your papaya. These guys there's 2 papayas. I'll show you the other one in a minute, the one that wasn't damaged. Probably a cup of water the entire winter, and that was rainwater too. So Biggest killer of my papayas was the rain last year and root rot. So my tip is don't water them, protect them from the frost, and you'll be sweet. And I'll show you the evidence. This is why. Excuse me. This is a second papaya. Beautiful leaves. New growth is still hanging in there, which is perfect. Is that a spider? Yeah, a little spider, that's alright. New growth is still there, and as we pan down, you can see the stalk too, which is dry. It's completely dry, which is awesome. You don't want to overwater these. Papaya's got shallow roots, which is why they come toppling down in heavy winds, and they will die of root rot if you give them the opportunity to. Alright, so papayas doing awesome. Next, longan. As you all know, longan already, most of us know, does really well. Lots of new growth going there, so not much to report on the longan. Probably need to move that out of there. It's getting a bit of sun damage, so when the sun comes out, it burns it a bit. That's alright. We'll get that sorted before summer. Yes, our mangoes have been moved out of the house, so they're no longer protected anymore. They're out here, or they're protected by this plastic, but they're not getting the warm heat that we put in the heater on every evening. They cop the wrath of the cold now, and so they should. There are two E2s, as most of you know. They are more tolerable to colder weather, as long as they don't get too much frost. And, well, to put it frankly, we haven't got any frost in this area because the plastic has done its job. So the R2E2 is doing really, really well. As you can see, the leaves are so healthy and green, and there's absolutely nothing to complain about. So these guys will stay out here for the rest of the winter and into spring. And when I say these guys, I'm talking about, this guy here, that's the grafted one, and this guy here is a seedling. So seedling will be out here too for the duration of winter, and he's even got new buds going along there because he's been inside, spoiled brat. But yeah, hopefully he can hold on to those buds and come out nice and strong come spring. Alright, just moving across here. I'll just show you before we go into the lychee. We've got the namdok mango. Again, was inside for a while. He's going to stay outside now for the rest of the winter, so he can help with his acclimation. Unlike the R2E2, he's grafted, but he doesn't have as many buds as probably would like. I mean, we only did get him last year, so hopefully coming weeks, going into September rather, hopefully that changes and he's able to grow out some more. Alright, moving across, one thing that did do pretty well, a shoot cane there that done pretty well, lychee. This was outside for the whole time and it looks barely damaged. And this is not even a real greenhouse, just a piece of plastic pinned up against a fence, and it's done its job pretty well. So you can see how with the minimal protection, we do have a bit of damage here. So we've got looks like a burnt leaf and a few burnt tips there, probably because not much water either. Like I said, I've sort of shied away from watering over the winter months for obvious reasons. Don't want these to die from root rot. I've learned my lesson with root rot and I'm not going down that track again. And this guy's probably going in the ground. Him and the longan, both going in ground next year, or come spring. It's time, they've been in the pot long enough. This plastic will be over it again next winter, but it'll probably be the last winter will be over it, I reckon. We'll see, not indecisive yet. But yeah, no, lychee's done really well. Barely any damage on it at all. So pretty happy with that progress. Yeah, one thing I wanted to show you is we come back down here. I don't know what you guys reckon, but is it just you, or does this pineapple look like it's got two layers to it? Like, you got your top layer and your bottom layer. So I don't know how it's actually growing. Interesting. Or maybe it's getting ready to flower, which will be pretty cool. That'd be awesome for flowers. It's our first pineapple in Melbourne. But anyway, yeah, if any of you guys have ever grown pineapple in Melbourne, done the research, takes about 5 years for it to grow in its preferred climate, so not here. Queensland, Northern Territory, subtropics, subtropical Asia. Beautiful pineapple though, I love pineapples. The plant itself, type of bromeliad, beautiful. Anyways, moving right along, namdok my allspice, also been inside, now been moved outdoors. Again, no damage to report for obvious reasons, it was inside. We did struggle, however, with the dryness of the heater, but safe to say that it survived it, so I'm happy with that. The only ones that are remaining inside at the moment are the vanilla plant, I don't know if you guys remember that from a while back, and the coconuts. They're still inside, the rest are back out, except for the mango seedlings, which I'll have to, my experimental ones, I'll have to bring them outside shortly. But yeah, no, these guys have done exceptionally well indoors, as they would. Okay, moving across, sugarcane, banana, standard damage, standard cold damage. It's coming back. The passion fruit, unfortunately, I think it's a type of passion fruit, I don't know. No good. I don't know why. Passion fruit normally should do alright in the cold, I'm guessing, but I don't know, this guy hasn't done too well. He looks like he's completely dry to the bone down there, so maybe not enough water, I'm not too sure. We'll give passion fruit a go next year again, see how he goes. Alright, moving back, that's standard damage from bananas, he'll come back. We've got here in the lower canopy healthy pineapple growing, which is awesome. Little banana shooting, some more dragon fruit we've just chucked into the ground, nothing too foreign. And then yeah, we make our way across where the lilies are all growing. Chilies, not too well, that chili compared to the other one, it's got less protection there. Coffee's not doing too bad, not doing the best. Got a bit of death here, which is fine, it's expected. But he's not dead, he'll definitely come back. And he's still even green up the top too, and that's a couple weeks in, so a couple weeks left of winter, so I'm not holding my breath with that one. Moving across, we've got all our beautiful lilies growing. Potatoes have decided to shoot out as they do in winter. Pan down a bit, we've got our basil, Vietnamese basil, has a beautiful smell to it, highly recommend growing that. Our bamboo's going off, which is great, it's opening and shooting. I'm just trying to think what else we've got here. More bananas just opening up. Pisang Ceylon. The lemongrass is cut back a bit. But yeah, everything's looking pretty ordinary. Nothing's dead. We're not dead yet, guys. Everything's still growing, still alive. Just slowed down as it would in winter, as long as it doesn't die. But anyways, this is what happened to the plastic. There's a massive gap here, which probably explains why the coffee's not doing too well, as you can tell. But look at the other side. It's pretty much covered. So has it been successful? Yes, it has been. Has it protected the plants? Yes, it has. Has it done its job? Yep. Papaya is still going well, mangoes are still well, lychee done well, longan done well, so plastic has done its job. Would I do it differently next year? Yep. And that's all part of the learning, guys, so lucky I didn't lose anything this year. Come next year, we'll revise everything, redo it again. So yeah, that's what I just wanted to show you guys, how everything was growing, or how everything has been going on over the last couple of weeks. Pretty well. Still got chilies growing, that's a good sign. Chilies normally die back during the winter, but yeah, everything else is doing pretty well. Coffee is still doing well, the one that I planted over here, as you can see, and that's why I know the other coffee is still alive. Just look at that deep green color, so barely protected by the Pinot, but not much else. He's actually out in the open, no plastic on top of him at all.